Hi everyone, welcome back to the Code Step by Step channel. My name is Anil Sidhu, and in this part of Laravel tutorial series, we will learn about controller. So first of all, we'll discuss what is controller in Laravel, how we can make it with the command line interface, or you can say that with the help of Artisan command. Then we'll see how we can call controller from router, how we can pass data from router to controller, how we can call view with controller, how we can call a view which is inside the nested folder. Then we'll see how many types of controller we have in Laravel, and at last we'll discuss some important interview question also. So let's start with the first question, what is controller? So controller is basically part of MVC architecture. MVC means model view controller. In one of the previous part of this series, I explained everything about MVC architecture. So controller basically handle the request from the user, and it display the data, and it can communicate with the database also. How it can communicate with the database and how it can show the UI to the user. See, understand with this architecture. So when a user try to access a Laravel application or any application which support the MVC architecture, we know that Laravel support the MVC architecture. So first the user request go to the controller, and according to the controller purpose, controller decide what need to do with that request. So if that request needs some data, then controller send a request to the model to fetch the data, and once this data will come to the controller, then controller send this data to the view so that user can see this data on the UI, and then user will get the response there. So here you can see that controller is basically a central unit which handle the request from the user, can fetch the data from database and display the data on the UI basically. Now the next question is how we can create the view. You can use command line interface which is provided by the Laravel Artisan command line. So now let's open the terminal, and there what I'll do, I'll go to the same folder, cd tutorial, then Laravel app, and now we are in the same folder. There you have to run a command php artisan and make. Now you have to decide what you want to make there, because with this command line interface you can create models, services, components, controllers, many things you can create. So here we want to create a controller, so then you have to write there make controller and controller name. So I want to put my controller name is user controller and hit enter. So once we hit enter, it informs us that controller is created inside the app, HTTP controller and user controller. So let's check there. So here you can see that inside the app we have HTTP controller, and here is our user controller.php file. So this is basically a controller. So you can write this code manually if you don't want to create controller with the terminal. All right. The next thing is we have to connect our routes with the controller. How we can do that? You have to import this controller inside your web.php file. So for that, just simply put there use, then app, or basically the path of this controller, you can say that. So app, then HTTP, then controllers, and then its controller name, which is user controller. All right. All right. And you have one easy option also. If you don't want to type this, what you can do, go to the user controller, copy this namespace, put there use, paste it, and then copy this controller name, and you can simply paste it there. This is the same thing, right? Either you can just type it or either you can copy paste it. Both are the 100% same thing. So now I want to create a route so that from that route we can access the controller. How we can do that? So first of all, I'm removing these all of previous routes which is not required now. So what I'll do, I'll use their route, then scope resolution method, and after that I'll use their get method. We know that we have multiple methods. As I told you in the previous part, we have put, post, patch, we have lots of methods, but still we will go with the get method only because this method is used to get or show the data. So inside this, as a first parameter, you have to pass the route name. So what I'll do, I'll put there user, and in the second parameter, first you have to use the square braces, then you have to use your controller name or your controller class name, then scope resolution method class. After that, in the second element of this array, you have to put your function name which you want to call on this route. There is no function at all, so we'll create a function index, and there you can return there, this is a user controller, and at last you can put the semicolon, and index you have to mention there like this. All right, now we can go to the browser, and you can simply go to the localhost 8000 port, and then your route name which is you return there, which is user. So go there and user, hit enter. You can see that this is a user controller. How it is working? So user send a request to the Laravel application. This request goes in the web.php file for routing, and there it found this is the matching route with the user controller. In the user controller, we have this index function which is mentioned there. So this output is displayed on the browser. So let's try to create one more route. I'm creating one more, and let's say its name is get user or something. You can use hyphens there for the routes, and you can mention there get user function name, right? And there I can create the same name with the function get user, and inside this we can return this is the get user route, right? And put the semicolon, and now you can access this route through the browser, localhost 8000 this, and here you can see that this is the get user route. Perfect. So now let's say you have one more route there about user details, something like this, and there you have a method details, right? And you can create this method like there also details, and here you can see that this is the user detail route mentioned there, user details 8000, and like this, perfectly working fine. So for which user we want to get the details? Sometimes we have to pass the data through the routes, or you can say that we have to make the dynamic routes. For example, there in the slide we have this dynamic name of this deck, right? So how we can access this dynamic routing and how we can handle it? So if I mention there Anil, you can see that this is not working. If I'll put there Sam, this is not working. So somehow I have to access this parameter dynamically. What I'll do there, I'll put slash curly braces, and what will become there? So let's say we are passing their name, so you can keep their name, and there just mention their dollar name, and here you can see that this is the get user route for which user, dollar name. Now if I try to access, you can see that this is the get detail route for Sam, or you can see that get detail page for Sam. If I make there Anil, here you can see that we get the detail for Anil and Peter. Anything you will put there, it should work completely fine. Okay, so the next thing is, okay, so till now we understand how we can make controller, how we can call controller from route, how we can pass data. Now the thing is how we can call a view from the controller. So what I'll do, I'll create one more route there. Let me copy this one, and I want to put there welcome user, and welcome function we have there. We don't have, don't worry, we can create this function welcome, and there I'll return this is a welcome page, right? If I try to access it, localhost again welcome user, right? Or yeah, so this is the welcome page. So now I want to show data from any view, right? How I can do that? Return there, and you have to use their view method. Inside view method you need to put the file name. So let's say we have this welcome.blade.php, so I can put there welcome. You don't need to put there .blade.php extension, and refresh it. Now you can see that hello Laravel. You can visit there hello Laravel. Then we have these 3-4 links, and here you can see that, right? So with that way you can call a view from the controller. Now the next thing is, so let's say if we have these views in nested folder, how we can call them? So let's say we have one more folder there inside the view, which is specifically for user, and I'll put there welcome user dot blade dot php. I want to call this function now. I want to call this view now. How can I call it? So if I come here and if I put this, will it work? So let me add some text there and let me put there, this is user welcome page. I'll refresh it. This is not working. Reason is there we mentioned welcome user, right, which is the file name, but we cannot access it because this file is inside the folder. So what I'll do there, user dot, because for folder we have to use their folder name and then dot, and if I come there, here you can see that this is a user welcome page. This is how we can call the view page which is under the nested folder. And we have two types of controller in Laravel. First one is basic controller, for which is we are talking about now. Second one is the resource folder. So when you create the resource controller, they'll create the CRED methods also automatically. So we'll talk about these resource controller in some other part, because we use these resources when we are ready to connect our application with the database. So for now we are talking about the basic things. So in this part I'm not covering these resource controller, but soon we'll cover them also. For interview question, what is controller, command for creating a controller, how we can call controller from routes, how we can pass data to the controller, how we can call view from the controller, and types of controller. These are the important questions for interviews. Thank you so much for watching this part, guys.